Clean water is essential to our existence. It allows us to produce food, manufacture goods, and sustain our health. It's also an essential part of our natural environment, which supports all human, plant and animal life. Australia is the driest populated continent, yet we're the greatest consumers of water per person in the world. On average, each Australian uses around 100,000 litres of fresh water per year. When you factor in the water used to produce the food we eat and the products we use, we're each responsible for using about 1 million litres of water each year. As populations increase, demand for water will also increase. If we don't reduce each individual's demand, then our water situation will become dire. We all share responsibility for the sustainable management of our water resources, which means using less water, everyone, everywhere, every time. This requires a reassessment of our relationship with water and learning to use it more sparingly. Most of the practical techniques you're about to see are straightforward, but every house is different. If you come across anything that seems out of the ordinary, for example, evidence of leaks, rusty pipes, or the need to use a lot of force, then you should contact a licensed plumber before you get into difficulties. Also, remember that all appliances should have a WELS star rating and watermark approval. Let's look at some simple, practical ways that you can make your home more water efficient. An ordinary household tap can flow out up to 22 litres of water per minute. That's an awful lot of water wasted while you're washing your hands or rinsing plates. One of the simplest things you can do around the house to save water is to install a flow controller on each of your taps. These should fit onto your existing taps. First, the aerator should be unscrewed from the tap. This usually unscrews by hand, but an aerator tool may be needed to loosen it. These are available from your hardware store if it wasn't supplied with the flow controller. A shifter could also be used, but take care that it doesn't damage your tap. Choose the desired flow rate, either 4 or 8 litres per minute are generally recommended, and replace the tap's aerator with the flow controller. Screw back the tap fitting to hold it all in place. It's that simple, to save up to 18 litres of water every minute. A dripping tap like this one can waste around 2 litres of water every hour. Often we ignore this waste of water because it doesn't look like much, until you realise that's 18,000 litres per year. Changing a tap washer yourself can be simple and cheap if you know what you're doing, but there are some safety tips you need to know. If you have a hot water service located in the ceiling, or if your taps are different to the ones here, we recommend you contact a licensed plumber. First, the water needs to be turned off at the mains. Then the water pressure relieved at the nearest tap, which is probably in the garden. Then the dripping tap needs to be turned on fully. Undo the buttons and remove the tap handles. A shifter may be needed if the buttons are on tight. Next, the flange is removed. A multi-grip tool may be needed if it's on a bit tight. Once the flange is off, there may be some old silicone that needs to be scraped away. Next, undo the spindle and check that the body washer is intact. If it's not, then it will need to be replaced. Remove the washer and replace it with a new one. Before replacing the rest of the tap, it's important to check there are no leaks. Turn off the taps and then turn the water mains tap back on. If the area is leaking, mains water will need to be turned off again and the previous steps repeated. If there are no leaks, replace the flange firmly by hand and replace the tap buttons. These should be tightened with a shifter so they can't come loose. If your tap is in a wet area, such as a shower, it's it's a good idea to seal the area with silicone so water doesn't get into the wall cavity and cause damage. Once the silicone's been applied, replace the flange so it's firm, but take care not to over tighten it. Allow a couple of hours before using the tap. We all know that the easiest way to save water in the shower is to have a short one, but there's another easy way to save tens of thousands of litres a year, reduce energy costs and greenhouse gas, and that's to replace the old shower head in your own home with a new water efficient one. Shower heads come with either a high-low arm or a flexible hose, and there are a variety of designs and prices available. Changing a shower head may affect the shower quality with some gravity feed or continuous flow systems. If you're in doubt, contact a licensed plumber. For this job you'll need an adjustable spanner, a strong cloth to protect your tapware, and some Teflon tape, which usually comes in the pack with the new shower head. Place a non-slip mat into the shower area to stand on. First, the old shower head is unscrewed. A shifter may be needed to loosen it, but remember to protect the tapware with a cloth. If a hand shower fitting is being replaced, you'll need to remove the hose before removing the shower fitting. Clean the threads with steel wool and dry the area thoroughly. Next, wind about 6 rotations of Teflon tape around the shower thread in a clockwise direction, against the roll, to create tension and make a tight fit. Check that the wall fitting is firm. If it's loose or damaged, call a plumber because you don't want water from the shower to rot out your wall cavity. If it feels firm, then the new shower head can be screwed on. Don't use the shower arm for leverage and take care not to reverse the screwing motion or you'll break the Teflon seal. Finish with a firm seal with the shower facing the right direction. If the shower is undone, then the Teflon seal will be broken and the shower head will need to be taken off and the Teflon tape replaced. If a hose fitting is being replaced, screw on the wall outlet and then screw on the hose fitting. If a high-low arm is being installed, make sure the swivel knobs are tightened so it sits upright. Finally, check that the shower doesn't leak. If it does, remove the shower head and replace the Teflon tape, then refit the shower head. So enjoy your new shower, just make sure you don't take longer ones, otherwise you're back where you started. Water leaks waste too much of Australia's fresh water. The amount of water you use is measured by a water meter. It's usually located near the front of your property, often just inside the front fence. Your water meter is a great way to check if your property is leaking valuable water. Residential customers are most likely to have one of the following types of meters. On this meter, black numbers on a white background register kilolitres. The white numbers on a red background register hundreds of litres, tens of litres, litres, and tenths of litres. On this meter, black numbers on a white background register kilolitres. This telltale detects small usage and leaks, and the 4 clock dials at the bottom of the meter register, starting from the right, hundreds of litres, tens of litres, litres, and tenths of litres. On this meter, black numbers on a white background register kilolitres. Red numbers on a white background register hundreds of litres, tens of litres, and litres. The telltale detects small usage and leaks at 20 revolutions per litre. Read your water meter after the last toilet flush before you go to bed. Read it again in the morning before you use any water and compare the readings. If you've used water overnight, your property could be leaking water and you should call a plumber and have it checked out. Then you'll be confident you're not wasting water.